What's happening, Expeditioners? It's Pete here, founder of Expedition Money. Want to read to you another chapter from my book, Amazing Money Stories, True Tales of Greed, Generosity, Success, and Luck. This is actually Chapter 8, Rise and Shine. In the fast-paced world of aviation, one bold move by American Airlines turned into an unlikely tale, blending cutting-edge ideas with good old-fashioned elbow grease. It all started with Sam, a veteran aircraft tech with an eye for the extraordinary. While digging through ancient maintenance guides, Sam stumbled across a long-forgotten World War II-era technique called the Silver Wing Miracle that involved polishing planes to a blinding sheen instead of painting them. Intrigued, Sam decided to revive this relic of the past through a daring experiment. He rallied a crew of fellow enthusiasts and targeted an aging American Airlines jet destined for a mundane new paint job. But Sam's gang had other plans. They attacked the plane's surface with serious buffing power, spending weeks turning it into a luminous metal masterpiece. When the polished plane was first unveiled to the airline execs, it was met with a mix of confusion and curiosity. But Sam had an ace up his sleeve. He arranged for the jet to bask in the midday sunshine, allowing its newly refined exterior to truly pop. As the sun rays danced across the polished plane, something magical happened. The sleek metal fuselage seemingly disappeared, reflecting the sky like a soaring mirror. Passengers gawked in awe at the spectacle of an aircraft blending into the heavens above. But Sam's renegade polish job wasn't just about mind-blowing looks. It ended up being a brilliant cost-saving move too. American realized that the paint added another 500 pounds to a plane's total weight. Extra weight meant guzzling more expensive fuel on every single flight. The number crunchers ran the data. By ditching the heavy paint in favor of polished sky mirrors, American estimated that it could save a staggering $19 million annually on fuel across their entire fleet. Lighter planes burnt less gas, a huge money saver. The dazzling sky mirror effect, as it came to be called, wasn't just a fleeting visual gimmick. It symbolized Americans' ingenuity in uncovering new efficiencies and their commitment to sustainability, all thanks to some good old elbow grease and revisiting a long-buried piece of aviation history. What's interesting about this story to me is that it was actually told to me by a friend of mine from college, Mark Ahasik. So he actually lived in the dorm room next to me, and so I got to know him. And the funny thing about him is he was an aviation enthusiast. He had little model airplanes hanging from his dorm ceiling. Obviously, this was an industry he wanted to get to. I think he is now like an aviation consultant. I haven't talked to him in 20 plus years, but he is actually pretty well known in the aviation community. But he had all sorts of stories about these kind of trivial insights and history of the aviation industry, which I just thought were fascinating. He told me things about like airline salads and all sorts of other stories. This is just the one that I picked from my memory to put in here because this story is also emblematic of a few other things to me. One, you have to be of a certain age to even remember that American Airlines airplanes were polished. Right now, they're kind of a silver, but they're painted, and so they look like every other airplane. But American Airlines planes were really different to me because they were polished. Every other plane was painted at that time, and I actually didn't know at the time when I was a kid flying on polished American Airlines planes that they were polished. I actually thought they just didn't paint them. I thought that's how the aluminum came out, that they were just very shiny. And in fact, I actually thought it was kind of cheap, to be honest. I didn't really think it looked that great because you can see all the ripples and the oil canning or whatever they call it in the aluminum surface when there isn't any paint, right? When you paint something, especially a light color, you kind of lose all those little dimples and the imperfections. It's kind of like why you paint cars or custom cars brighter colors, because it's hard to see any imperfection. If you paint a custom car black, it has to be perfect because it ends up being like a mirror. So that is kind of one of the funny things about it. The other thing is the sky mirror effect is actually something that I think we see a lot in World War II planes. Now, a lot of naval planes were painted kind of a matte finish, but the one I think about is like the P-51 Mustang, where it was basically a polished airplane. And I always thought that was weird because I thought, basically, you're sending a mirror up into the sky. Won't it always reflect? You know, when I would do survival class, you would take a mirror and that's how you would signal for help, reflect that sunlight. And I thought, man, if you have a polished airplane up there, somewhere in that curve, there's going to be a reflection point that sends sun right down to my eyes. So I feel like as an enemy pilot, it's going to be easier to see polished airplanes. But apparently that's not correct. In fact, apparently a polished airplane is harder to see because it's reflecting the same light, and so it blends in pretty well. Now, I think there are reasons why they don't use that anymore. I think there isn't as much aluminum on airplanes, especially fighter jets, as there once was. The coatings that they have to put on there, the radar absorption coatings, are like a paint anyway. So even if it was composite or aluminum underneath, you wouldn't just have that as exposed metal anymore. And because all the passenger airlines now are composites, there's no way to do a polished effect like that. So the blindingly polished planes of American Airlines are in the past. You probably have to be of my generation or older to even remember that. But what I like about this is it was a decision that was made to be cool, and it ended up saving them a ton of money. So whoever the guy was that ended up doing it, he should have gotten a very nice bonus at the end of the year from American Airlines, because I think he saved them quite a bit of money. Sounds like polishing an airplane is a lot of work too. So I thought, you're not painting the airplane. It's not as much work to get them prepped, but it sounds like you might have to do more work to polish them than it takes to actually paint them. But either way, I just thought it was an interesting story, and it kind of explains the whole very unique look of American Airlines for so many years. So hopefully you found that interesting. Another story will be coming up soon. I'll see you later.